Since the start of 2025, there's been a big shift in the type of digital products that have been working well in the marketplace, and it's leading to beginner business owners having what seems overnight success. But it's made me realize that the entry point for new business owners to get out there and have some sort of success hasn't been this low for a very long time. The internet has made it easier than ever before for anyone in the world to just come up with an idea and be able to turn it into money. There's literally 16-year-old kids making $15,000 a month and dropping out of high school because it's just too easy. And of course, I love digital products because it's led to me selling over $150 million in sales. And I truly believe anyone can blow up with the proper strategy and mindset. Now in 2025, anyone can make a digital product business and do well. And the first reason for that is the internet has changed the game. Think about just 40 years ago, where the way you had to build a business was go knock on doors or do flyers or, newspapers. Like, it just wasn't as easy as it is now. You can sit at home and post something and someone from another country or another state can see it, reach out to you, have a conversation and buy something. That just is unfathomable when you start to think about it. And now all you have to do to make money is continue to deliver value. That's what people are after now. They don't want some flash or BS or confusion. They just want straight value. And back in 2012, when the internet was still pretty new, you could run ads on Facebook or Google and pretty much get away with anything. I mean, you could get impressions and leads for hardly anything. And over time, it's been about 10, 12, 13, 14 years. It's getting a little bit more competitive. And the reason it's getting more competitive is people want value. They want to be over-delivered. The question is, what is value, right? And there's really two ways I break down value. It's either by content or by offer. By content is showing someone how to do something for free that someone else has probably charged them for. And so if I can do that by giving value and saying, hey, here's what you need to do to build a business. Here's what you need to do to make money. And they go and do it and make money. That will create a brand that will create people coming back over and over again to work with me and look at my content. And then the other way is by your offer, right? And so if you have a business and you're trying to make money, how good your offer is going to depend on how easy it is to make sales, how easy it is to grow. And I've talked about this in a few of my videos, but the easiest way to know if you have a good offer is just use the Alex Hormozi equation, right? He talks about this in $100 million offers, and he has 4 components. It's the determined outcome. So do they want what you're selling? Perceived likelihood of achievement. How likely is it they're going to hit their goal? Time delay, and then effort and sacrifice. And for most offers, people only have 1 out of 4. It's, hey, I'm going to teach you how to make money, but it's going to be really hard and you have a high chance of failing and it's going to take a long time. Or, hey, I'm going to get you in shape, but it's going to be really hard and it's probably not going to work and it's going to take a ton of time. Or, hey, I'm going to help you get on a lot of dates, but it's going to be really hard and it's probably not going to work and it's going to take a lot of time. Like, that's just not a very enticing offer. So if you can look at those 4 quadrants and figure out what's the best offer I can make for this type of thing, how can I make it and package it in the best way while still making it ethical and something I can deliver on and not drive myself crazy? That is going to make sure that you deliver great value, not only from your offer, but also from your content. And the cool part is you can start just creating content or building a business about what you already know or find interesting. When I started out, I just was doing fitness because I was a Division I athlete. And I grew up playing football and I grew up playing basketball and I was in really good shape and I'd done professional fitness balling. I didn't know anything else. So I just said, hey, here's what I know. And I can help people with fitness because that's what I've done. And you can do the exact same thing. And the cool thing is, even if you don't know how to start a business, you don't have any of these skills, there's 2 places you can go to learn them, right? There's no excuse for not being able to make money because if you don't have the skills, you can go learn. And so 2 places I would go to, one, and I'll actually type these in for you guys, is udemy.com. And when you go to these sites, you can learn any skill you want. You can type in video games and a bunch of stuff will come up about. You can learn how to do graphic design. And these courses are $10, $20. I mean, they're so cheap, guys. I mean, it's just a joke. You can learn how to do advertising. And so any skill you want to learn, you can come here. Now, let's say you can't even afford $10, $20, whatever. You can go to allison.com, which is free, and pretty much do the same thing. I haven't looked over the sites long enough. Like I used udemy.com when I was on the rise and building my businesses. I haven't used Allison, but it's free. So, how bad can it be? And you can do the same thing. You can type in graphic design. And you can come in here and start taking courses and they're completely free. I just think there's no excuse in this day and age to not be able to get rich. It's on easy mode when you look at these things. And then finally, if you look below in the description, I have a link to my free elite university. Again, it's completely free. You could go through and it's a course essentially from A to Z with 30 modules on how to build and grow a business. And you can go in there as well. Now, anyone can create a digital product business, but the second thing that makes this so easy is selling is easier than ever before. You can literally sit on your couch with a cell phone and pull it out and just sit there and message people and make actual sales. In fact, it blew my mind when I started making money with digital products because I'd done door-to-door sales and I was in 100-degree heat in Alabama. It was sweaty. It didn't feel good. I didn't like being there. I would get cops calling me, all kinds of stuff. It was nuts. And you can sit there and just do that. And you have 3 ways to sell, right? Just from your phone. I'm going to show you how to do it. Now, the first thing you want to do is make sure you prime your social media profile. So if I go here and I just pull up mine for an example, you have Tanner.Chidester. There's 3 key things you want to do. The first thing is, the first line is, what do you do and how do you do it uniquely? So mine says, I help people build the business of their dreams. That's actually not that unique, but you can see below that, broke to $100 million in sales in 6 years. That is unique. Most people can't say that. But if I wanted to make it better, I could say, I help people add 70% more calls by using XYZ method. That would make it more believable, or make it more interesting. You want to drive curiosity. The second thing is, I always say, DM me ready for help. You want people messaging you. The more conversations you have, the more money you're going to make. The third thing is then, why should they listen to me? So broke to $100 million in sales in 6 years is pretty good. And then when they click on the link, it's a quick presentation. Mine's actually a slideshow, and then they can book a call, right? So we can help anyone at any time. And then below that, you'll see case studies of client I've helped make a ton of money, how to get clients on Instagram, and then an authority post. And that's the type of content you're going to want to be posting. So make sure your profile is primed before you start reaching out to people. Now, once you do reach out to people, you got 3 ways you can pretty much sell. You can do it to strangers, right? So that could be in Facebook groups or IG hashtags. So you can go into groups on Facebook, for example, that is related to what you want to sell. So if I go on Facebook here and I type in, let's say I type in marketing, right? Because I'm an ad agency. It'll pull up a ton of groups that are related to marketing. And then you can go in those groups and start looking for people to start conversations with. And guys, just thinking this is simple. If you went up to 100 girls, would one girl say yes eventually? Yes. Same thing will apply here. Right? Now, you may not have the messaging skills, you may not have the sales skills, and that's where you might want to hire someone or go through a course or go through curriculum. But it is a numbers game. Even if you have no money, even if you have no skill, you can do that. The second place that's going to be a little bit easier is your following. We're doing simple boosted posts. So before you do cold outreach and you start going to Facebook groups or IG hashtags, right? And IG hashtags, you could type in a hashtag related to your offer. So if you sell yo-yos, you could type in yo-yo, right? Or you could type in people who love yo-yos. Try to find a hashtag that will have people who are interested in what you're trying to sell, right? Now, if I do followers or boosted posts, I'll go back. Super simple. Followers, I can message 455,000 people. My team or myself will look for individuals who look like they're business owners who need help. We're not going to message everyone, but we're going to look for the best looks. Then we can go to all the likes and comments. So every time we get a post, we can go to likes and comments and message people off that each and every day. Likes, comments, etc. Each and every day. And then if we still need more volume, I can go to one of these posts and click on boosted posts like this and click visit your profile, right? Pick the audience and then how much budget I want to do a day. And so again, it's so easy to get leads. You just have to be willing to do it. So if you have no money, start by reaching out to strangers. Once you get a couple sales, you can put it into boosted posts, which are really cheap. Usually I can actually show you guys, we'll do a boosted post. I'll actually show you one right here. And we're getting followers, I think, for about profile visits for about 16 cents, 18 cents. You see that? 18 cents. And then what we'll get from that is usually about a follower for every $1 to $2. So if that's the case and we're reaching out to those individuals, we can definitely make money from that, right? That's a very easy way to make money with boosted posts. So that's the second way. And then the third way is actually for running ads, right? So when I say actually running ads, you have boosted posts, and a boosted post is just what it says. It just boosts it. People will see it, and it's very, very cheap. When I run an actual ad, I might run a DM ad, or I might run it to an opt-in page. So this right here is one of our DM ads that we're running. And so you might see this on Instagram, and then when you click on it, it actually sends you an automated message with the DM and then sends you to one of our funnels. The upside of this is they come directly to you. The downside is it's a little bit more expensive, right? And so this isn't a great place for beginners to start. But those are the 3 ways that you're able to start getting leads, and it's easier than ever before. So no matter whether you have $0 or tens of thousands of dollars to spend, you can find people to buy your product. And then once you push those individuals to the call, you just want to follow this simple structure. Okay. So I'm going to take you through what I call sales framework. So there's really 7 steps. It's pretty simple. First one is intro or pre-frame. So I might say, hey, John, glad you're on the call. Point here is to understand your goal and what you're struggling with, what you tried before. If at the end of the call, you feel what we do is a great fit, awesome. If not, that's okay too. I just want to help you make a good decision. And if you feel it's a fit, let's do it. If you don't, no problem. Then we go into discovery. In discovery, you really want to understand the full situation. So I want to ask what their goal is, what they're showing with, what they've tried, those types of things. But the key things is why now? Why today? Like why not wait a year? I want to get a commitment that if it's a fit, they're going to move forward today. And then I also like asking about opportunity costs. Because a lot of times when people come on the call, they don't want to make decisions. And I also get a commitment about opportunity costs. So, hey, you've been holding out on hiring someone for 6 months. Maybe you could add an extra $10,000 a month. That's $60,000 a month you lost out on. That's a big opportunity cost. The goal is to ask the questions to understand the situation and then also make sure that if they do feel it's a fit, they'll move forward at the end of the call. All right. And as you take sales calls and you're talking to individuals, the questions will become obvious of what to ask, because if they get to the end and they don't buy, the whole point is to figure out what question do you need to ask in the beginning of discovery to get them to buy at the end. It's not always getting better at objections. Yeah, that's part of it. But if I continue to get the same objection, then that means I need to ask better questions at the beginning to beat that objection. I'm not going to say, you're stupid, the sky is green, it's not blue. That doesn't convince people. I might say, well, why do you think the sky is blue? Just because everyone else says it doesn't mean it's true, does it? And then I can bring something else up that everyone says this, but that didn't make it true. Do you remember when everyone thought the world was flat, but it's actually round? So why would you think the sky is blue just because everyone says that? You see what I mean? So you use questions to convince people. You don't convince people by telling them what to do. So that's discovery. Then we do what I call a summary. So I just say, cool, so now I'm through those sections. Here's your goal. Here's what you're struggling with. Here's what you tried. If we can fix it, you'll move forward. Yes? Great. And then we go into what we call the 3 pillars. All right. The 3 pillars is just the top 3 reasons why someone should work with you. And you want to do it in a, here's what they do versus we do frame. Meaning, if I'm selling how to do cartwheels, okay, or how to do, let's do gymnastics, something weird. I would say most gymnastic coaches do this. I do this, and this is why it's better. That's the first reason. The second reason is most gymnastic coaches do this, and I do this. This is why it's better. And then the third reason is most coaches do this, and I do this. This is why it's better. You want to have 3 reasons. So for example, when I was on the rise and I was selling consulting to only trainers, right? Now I actually do consulting for all kinds of businesses. But when I was only doing consulting for trainers, one of the things I said was, look, most people don't know how to build their offer as a trainer, right? You're selling low ticket packages, you have to sell high ticket. If you don't sell high ticket, you're not gonna make any money. Number 2 is getting consistent lead generation. Most coaches are teaching you to run these webinars, they don't work. I'm gonna teach you something I call convergent conversation, and it's gonna get you 70% more applications. And then number 3 is I built a multi-million-dollar fitness company. Most of these guys haven't. And so when I explain that to people, a lot of them are like, yeah, that makes sense. Right? It's logical. So you want to have 3 points, and that's going to be the section I call the 3 pillars. After the 3 pillars, you're going to go into what I call a brief overview, right? So the overview is very simple. It's just, hey, here's what you're going to get in the program. You're going to get a coach, you're going to get, a base camp, you're going to get project management, just enough so they understand what they're buying, right? People don't care what they're getting, but they want to have at least a concept. So if I go to someone and say, blow up my YouTube, I don't really care what he teaches me. I just want to know that, okay, how many calls do I get? Do I get this? Just a very basic understanding for maybe 5 minutes. And then after that, I create as much certainty as possible. So, hey, now that you've heard anything, how do you feel? Does it sound like a fit? And they're either going to go, oh, it's amazing, very high certainty, or they go, yeah, it's pretty good, low certainty, which means I need to raise that as high as possible before dropping the price. And then I'll drop the price. And if they give you any type of objection, you train on price, spouse, time, or belief. And if you need help training on those, there's a link down below in the description to my free elite university where there's an entire curriculum on sales training. You guys can go through that. Okay. And not only is leads easy, but fulfillment is easier than ever before. The reason for that is you don't even have to build it first. When I was building my company, I didn't build out my products or my business first. I literally sold it, got the person on a Zoom call, recorded it, and that became my initial training. And the benefit of that is twofold. One, you can see first if you could sell it before you build it. A lot of people, they're not good at sales. And so they'll spend 3 months building something and then they can't even sell it. So it's a total waste of time. So first, validate that people want your offer. The second thing is that when you get on those Zoom calls, not only can you use it in the beginning as your initial curriculum, but you'll see what people actually need help with. When I was building my business, I didn't realize how easy things came for me. And even when I started YouTube videos, I didn't realize some of the stuff I talk about is so easy for me that I'll forget that for a beginner or someone who's just starting in business or maybe even has a business, but they're not at, 7 or 8 figures, that it's difficult for them. And because it's difficult for them, if I can break it down in a simplistic way, it really blows their mind. It really, really helps them. And so as you go through those Zoom calls, you'll actually see, oh man, maybe I need to add this to my curriculum. Maybe I need to add that. So not only does it save time, but as you're going through these Zoom calls, you're able to see what you need to add into the curriculum that maybe you would have forgotten if you hadn't done it. Now, once you've made money from your business, you can get even richer from investing. Now, a mistake I made is I don't want to say it's a mistake because I did learn from it and it was a good experience, but don't start getting Lambos and buying a bunch of nonsense and Cartiers and, watches and Rolexes and all that shit, because ultimately I did that because I both think I was rich, and it wasn't because I enjoyed it. It was because I wanted other people to think I was cool. Now, some of you will enjoy it. Some of you will like those things, but it's my experience that whatever you get after 6 months, it gets old. And because it gets old after 6 months, my thought process is, why do it in the first place? Invest that cash into assets, into investments that will make you passive income. For me, again, I'm not saying I'm the world's top investment advisor. I'm not saying I'm Warren Buffett, but what's worked for me is what I call the infinite banking concept. And so there's 3 ways you can really spend your money. You can, let's say we're buying a house. This is $100,000. You could pay cash, but if you pay cash, the money's gone forever. You could pay on credit card, but if you pay on credit card, usually in 5 years, you've paid $125,000, so it actually costs you more money. Or you can pay with what I call the infinite banking concept. Now, before I get into that, there's books on it. You can read about it. But first thing about how banks make money off of you. If you put $100,000 in a bank, what the bank does is they then will invest that money into investments. And let's say you're getting 1% a year and they're making 5, so they make 4% a year off your money. That's how banks make money. So what I've done is I figured out a way where I could take my money, millions of dollars that I made from my business, so this is after you make the money, put it into what I call a whole life policy where you maximize cash value. Usually people use whole life policies for the insurance as a death benefit, but really what I want to use it for is the cash value. And what happens is if I'm making 5% a year from those, which if you structure it properly, you can, then what happens is when I want to buy a house, if I put $100,000 in that policy, I can pull a loan against myself. So let's say the loan's 2% fixed rate, and then I still make 3% per year. Well, the cool part is I can now pay for the house, but that still makes me 3% profit a year. It's 5% total, but minus the 2% loan, 3% profit a year. And over time, over 5 years, there's now 125,000 in there. And so now I've actually made more money by pulling a loan against myself. And then if I pay it back over time, I still have all the benefits of that policy. So essentially, again, you create your own bank, right? By pulling a loan against yourself, while it makes 5% a year, you're doing what banks do. You're using your dollar twice. And so what I've done is I put millions of dollars in this policy, pulled it out, and then put it in real estate. I bought businesses. I put it in safer investments or like mutual funds or whatever I felt was safe. And you can decide whatever you want. But ultimately, if you're taking a dollar and using it twice, that's going to make you richer than if you don't do that. And so to me, if you want to get material on this, again, I'm not saying I'm Warren Buffett or anything like that, but this has worked really well for me and my clients, is you can read a book called The Infinite Banking Concept. You can walk through that and it'll take you through that process. And that's what I do. And if you study it, I do think you'll come to the conclusion that it is a very good strategy. Something else that helped me tremendously is as I made more money is it opens opportunities for bigger things. So the first thing is I went from an in-person trainer to an online trainer. And then after I got my award from ClickFunnels for doing $1 million in a year, trainers wanted me to consult them, So I did $10 million. And then after trainers wanted me to consult them, I helped everyone and did 15 million. And then people like Alex Hormozi, actually, that's how I met him and became friends with him because he wanted to meet me and we talked and we conversed and we've been able to stay friends. I got to hang out with Russell Brunson this past year for 4 days in South Africa on a safari. I've interviewed billionaires. I've gotten to travel the world. I've been on tons of podcasts and get asked to be on them all the time. I paid off my parents' house. I've gotten accolades and awards. And if you're saying, Tanner, that's great for you. Like I haven't been really as successful as you yet. It doesn't matter. Just tell people what worked for you. So as long as you're the guide and not the guru, people will listen to you. People don't want to be told you're wrong and I know everything. That's not what they want. In fact, what I try to do in these videos is the same thing. I try to tell you guys what worked for me. And if you like it, cool. If you don't, no problem. An example, I have a video going viral right now that's getting about 4,000 or 5,000 views a day. That honestly, I didn't think it would be my most viral video, but people deemed that it was good and they got so much value from it and loved it. And there's a ton of positive comments. And so just say, here's what I did. Here's how it worked for me. And hopefully it works for you versus saying, hey, you're wrong and this is what you need to do. And sometimes I'll even catch myself doing that where I'm not trying to come off that way, but people take it as, oh, Tanner thinks this is the only way to do it. It's like, no, not really. I mean, there's really a million ways you could do something. It just comes down to, how you want to do it. But that's why sharing what you've done is the best thing that you could possibly do. And this happens when you start to become successful, right? You don't have to go out and network. When you start to become successful and you start making money and you've generated leads and you built an offer and you've automated fulfillment and you start investing, like people want to know who you are because people want to be like successful people. So you don't even have to start looking for it. All you have to do is work hard and doors are automatically going to open for you. And if I've said it once, I'll say it again. Business is one of the greatest vehicles for personal development. And the reason I say that is a business at some point is only as good as your team. Your team only wants to follow leaders. And leaders are people that others want to be like, right? Like you don't look up someone and say, oh, I want to be like him if he's not a leader. That means they're different than other people. That's why they're a leader. People want to follow people who are different. And building a business challenges you in so many ways that will force you to develop yourself. But not only that, you start to develop skills all around the board, like copywriting, sales, marketing, managing, hiring, training, course development, all that stuff. But even if your business fails, or you don't want to do it for the rest of your life, you can go and get paid huge money elsewhere. So I'll actually give you an example. 2 of my brothers worked for me for 4 years, and they were making anywhere between about $8,000 to $20,000 a month with me. And now they make between $30,000 to $40,000 a month at high-powered companies because of all the skills they've learned, and they weren't even the business owners. And part of the reason they were able to get in those companies is I've built a large network and Rolodex, and because they worked so hard and did so well, it was super easy to get them into new companies and get paid more. So like you could look at this as, oh, if this business doesn't work out, this sucks and my life's over and it's all for nothing. It's like, no, building a business will help you develop skills that you can use later in other jobs even and make a ton of money. Like most people will be super happy with $30,000, $40,000 a month, not running the business. Like you don't have to deal with all the stress and the employees and all those types of things. So even if your business doesn't work out, this still makes it easy for you to get rich in 2025. And so it allows you to actually develop. You will develop mentally, and then obviously the skills like managing, hiring, and all this stuff I've had to learn to build a business to this size will benefit me no matter what happens in the future, whether I start other companies or I work for someone else or whatever happens. So this is how you guys can get rich on easy mode in 2025. To see how I made $115 million with one digital product, just click here.